one complete. And we're going to jump right into a recap, and then we're going to hear from Christine on how it went. Oh, and we have Mickey here. Wait, direction. There we go. So welcome, Mickey. And I guess, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to pause myself for a second, because you know what? I've done a bunch of these recaps that I just realized this is the first week. What am I doing? Mickey, why don't you say a little bit about yourself before I jump into the recap?
Well, I'm as you know, a nutritionist and personal trainer myself. And, you know, I found a lot through food. It's helping people. Food is one of those things that's, it can be very emotional, can be very crazy, can be, people have a very unhealthy relationship with. And for myself, it was more of a health thing and how I got into it. I was always very physically active. Never got into nutrition because I needed to lose weight, but because of the reactions I had from food. So I just realized food is your medicine, and how you view it is whole different than how many of us view food. But it's literally my medicine, and not to say I don't enjoy it, I do. It's just learning that balance and you know, doing what's right for each individual person. There's no cookie cutter answer. So that's a little bit in a nutshell about me.
Amazing. Thank you, Mickey. And yeah, so Mickey's been here and been with me. My name's Cam. I'm an online personal trainer, also an in-person, like in-home personal trainer, corporate personal trainer, and I do health coaching. And I've been training people since I was 15 years old, and I love it so much. And I kind of see it as like sort of finding each person's internal discovery to find what makes, their version of healthy, like what works for them. And so that's what really gets me out of bed in the morning, is to help people find that optimal health so that they can take charge of their lives. Because honestly, like health and fitness, every area, even like business, money, you know, family, everything changes. So that's what really excites me. And I'm really excited to be here with Christine on her journey. And I'm really excited to be here with you as well, Mickey, because it's just so fun to be able to collaborate with such amazing health professionals from other walks of health, because each of our lenses provides something new and unique for Christine to discover what she needs to discover. And ultimately, she's the boss, really. Like, we're just here on the side, willing to support and do what we need to do. But ultimately, this is about her journey. So that is a little bit about myself and Mickey. And, you know, in the realization that this is week one, Christine, why don't you do like a little intro for yourself as well?
All right, well, I'm a full-time corporate accountant. I'm a CPA, CGA. I'm also a certified group fitness instructor through BCRPA. So I teach group fitness, specializing in strength, cardio, indoor cycling, and aquafit certifications. And I also am the chair of the CPA Vancouver chapter. So I do a lot of volunteering with the CPA. So I'm also mentoring a lot of up-and-coming CPAs. I'm a CPA ambassador. So a lot of volunteering takes up my time as well. So it's a fine balance between my work, my volunteering, my health and wellness, my fitness, and then family on top of that. So I spend time with my nieces and my family on the weekends, and that's how I keep it well-rounded.
Yeah, you have so many different hats that you wear, and I could really hear the commitment that you have to put your time and energy into all of those different areas. And you know, what's that like for you, having to balance your health alongside all of those different things?
I think by now having that time with gyms reopening, being able to get back into a group fitness setting has been great for me, just because it allows me to create more balance. If I'm able to hit the gym, I am mentally prepared to take on my day, to take on my week. And it's that time that I take for myself to disconnect from the world, from my work, from my commitments, because now that's the commitment I'm making to myself for that 1 hour.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So you're taking that time, like it almost sounds like when you go to the gym, it's like you really caring for your body, and like you said, having that impact mentally and being able to show up in all of those different areas just means that you can be there, like you can actually be there. So amazing. Without further ado, let's get into week 1 recap. And let me share my screen. All right. Here we go. Here we are, week 1, Fuel Nutrition, Christine's health journey. So what we focused on is tracking food and water intake and discovering purpose and building awareness of what works for Christine, as well monitoring and assuring that health metrics are moving in a direction in line with Christine's goals. So for goal number 1, which was our tracking food and water, we are using MyFitnessPal and as well habit tracking through the Fuel Life app. And I put an and there and didn't erase it. Number 2 is habit tracking on the Fuel Life app, which I repeated for a second time. Oh man. And then number 3 is meal prepping. Goal number 2, we did some daily reflection videos and entry into a self-discovery journal. As well, we're doing this call, which is going to review how the week went and discuss what worked, what didn't work, and then adjust things accordingly and see what we want to be bringing forward into our new week, because we are going to be transitioning to we're going to be transitioning to body. So the focus will be on physical fitness, but what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to take what worked and then move it forward intuitively. And then the last is, she had access to coaching and support and education. And we gave that on her need basis. And number 3, we tracked biometrics in the Fuel Life app, like I mentioned before, and we encouraged social activities because community really works for Christine. And this comes in the form of, doing spin class and other various activities. And as well, fostering in her home, more meal prep with her boyfriend. And also linking different activities to already existing routines, like when she's at work, having a big water bottle so that she can be hydrated. So we've already introduced ourselves. We've got a certified holistic nutritionist, Mickey, here, and myself. I'm a certified online personal trainer. And some metrics. 6.9, I can't see the other number because of my 6.93 hours of sleep was the average. And we had an average of 5,371 steps. And boom, 100% of all of the things that we set out to do, Christine, you completed it. So, yeah, exactly. So that's my very quick little rundown of how things went for the week. And so now it's your turn, Christine, to let us know what went well and what didn't go well, and what was easy, what was hard, all of that.
I think I summarized pretty well on my quick minute updates. I tried to compress them as quick as possible. But logging food was something I knew worked for me previously. So it wasn't something I struggled with. If anything, it just reminded me again, like, the harsh reality of logging my food is, oh my God, protein is so hard to hit, especially on days where I'm not working out. Because when I work out, it's very easy for me to slam down a protein shake after a workout. but that protein shake doesn't exist on a day I work out, on a day I have a rest day. So I'm like, okay, now I have to eat all this additional protein somehow. And then with the addition of, let's try to up my fats. I'm like, okay, well, upping my fats, I went to the grocery store, picked up a couple things to kind of help supplement in areas where I could add some additional fat.
Mhm.
And then while logging, I was starting to think ahead of myself, because intuitive eating is essentially going to be a goal. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, okay, well, at lunch the last 2 days, I had my sandwich and I added avocado, which I normally would never have done in the past, but I wanted to get those healthy fats in. And sure enough, oh, and I was using a different bread, the squirrely bread you suggested. And so that additional fiber, the additional fat, I'm like, God, I'm so full, like really full. Like, and normally I would have like just the basic sandwich with my meat, my veg, like the lettuce and everything. I'd even have carrots on the side normally. But because I was trying to hit my macros, I was beyond full that and what I do is I'll log my food the night before. So then I commit to myself, like, this is what I'm going to eat for the day. And I make sure I'm going to hit my macros. So by like my 3 o'clock snack or whatever snack I wanted to eat before going to my workout, so that I wouldn't overindulge for dinner, I'm so full. Like, I don't even want this salad. Like, I was going to have a Greek salad, because then, like you had suggested before, like some feta cheese and like the cucumbers is like a great combo and super healthy. But I was just like, I can't do this. And so I was like, I had a couple like boiled egg whites, and that kind of took me as like a nice light snack before going into my workout. And then I got home, did the protein shake right away. And so then when dinner rolled around, I was like, okay, I can still handle this. It's still within my macros. So, yeah, so logging for me, like, I know if I'm given macros, I will follow it. Like, there's just like, that's just how I am.
Mhm.
But it got me thinking, when it gets to intuitive eating, if I'm going to honor my hunger or honor my fullness, then I worry that I might not fuel myself properly.
Mhm.
Or because I know what I'm doing right now while I logged works so well,
Mhm.
that I would be scared to deter from what I was doing, in fear that I'm going to screw it up. And like, and so I had mentioned, like, maybe I need to log that week if I want to try changing things up, so that I know I'm still kind of on track. So those were kind of like the ups and downs I was kind of going through this week. The nice byproduct, though, of this was, because I really put the onus on my boyfriend to cook dinner all week, he really did it. He cooked dinner all week, and he knew, like, I told him, like, this is like protein, this is the carbs, make sure we have our veggies. Like, he was being so good this week himself. And this week he saw, like, I bought Halo Top ice cream, and he saw it in the freezer, and he's like, oh, we have ice cream. I'm like, no, we can't. He's like, no, you're right, we can't. I'm like, yeah, I'm saving it for the weekend. And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll save it for the weekend. And then, like, we're planning together. Like, we're like, okay, so, we're being really good this week. So on the weekend, I'm allowed to be like a little bit better. Like, I can have some more flexibility. I'm like, so we should do Anton's, right? He's like, yeah, let's do Anton's. So, like, we have now this kind of like structure. And I don't know if it's because, like, he tries to be really supportive, because he'll ask me, he's like, so he'll call me yesterday. He's like, hey, I'm going to Starbucks. Are you allowed to have Starbucks right now? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm still working on my water. But he tries to be very cognizant and supportive when it comes to, like I said, hey, I'm on this 8-week journey right now. Like, this is what I'm planning on doing. And he's also being kind of a little bit self-conscious and aware now of when we eat together and timing wise. So, like, it's not as late as we used to, but it's still kind of like, it's not 6:30 like we had in that email, but it's significantly better. And then he's also realized, hey, I can cook chicken and it's still good 2 days later. I'm like, yes, that's what's called meal prepping. So, like, he's been really, really into making this like Creole spice, like grilled chicken thing. And he's like obsessed with it. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll just cook this and it's good for 3 days. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like what bodybuilders do. You should start doing that. So that's working really well, because then he knows, like, if he's not home on time and I'm here waiting, I can have dinner without him and the food is there. So it's a nice partnership that's been kind of evolving because of this whole week that I'm doing and getting better with my nutrition again. So yeah, so that's been a real success. I love that.
Wow. So like essentially because that was one of the barriers that we identified in our conversation, which was the unpredictability of him coming home. So I want to acknowledge the fact that you actually, or it just, you know, now is not going to be an issue because he's meal prepping, and those days no longer will it be like, oh, frustration, skip the dishes. It's like, no, you know, like, and two, like, I love your, like, all of the notes that I took from all of the videos that you did. You just like hit all of the points. So I don't even need to say anything. You, you answered all of my, I'm not even kidding. You answered all of the questions that I wanted to ask, from watching your videos.
Okay. Yeah, because like this little journal, like I'm writing like every day, like what I'm going through, so that when it gets to the end of the night, I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about? Because I have, and what I, like at the top of my notebook, I put aha moment. And so like during the day when I'm eating or during a particular meal or something happens, I'm like, oh, aha, write it down. And then I've kind of set myself up for the content I want to talk about, because I know we're focusing on different things each week. And I want to make sure like this week I completely just focused on nutrition. Whereas even though it's nutrition, like I've been kicking my ass in the gym, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save that for when it comes to body, because then I can really highlight the stuff I'm doing for my body next week.
That's right. And so that is the exact intention with intuitive, like you've actually, so with intuitive eating, it's not something that's all or nothing. It's not one of those things that when you are following a meal plan, it's not like you do it 100% or you do it or you don't. It's like a discovery, right? So Mickey, I'm curious, like, what do you hear in Christine sharing that we can further discuss so that we can further the discussion of that discovery?
Well, first of all, she's the ideal client, as you know. She's right on top of things. I love it because it makes it so much easier for us to help her. She loves her, you know, she's tracking, she's doing all that stuff. So it's easy to track for us to figure out what's going on, right? And I love the support. It comes around the family usually, and it has her boyfriend's aboard. I mean, that's awesome, and she's excited and she's determined, and it's great, and it's you know, it's enjoyable. It doesn't seem like a task to her. And you know, just listening about the food, she's full. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about Saturday, not like, oh, what do I need to grab because I'm hungry, right? Like she's learning the reason for fats and why we have them and that kind of thing. So I think that's really good. I want to ask Christina something real quick though. Because I said to take a weight before the cheat day. Did that go in? I'm just curious. Like, is cheat day today, or can she hear me?
Oh yeah, I'm planning for it.
Okay, so we started at, okay, no, I just want to back up because it's not about weight, but with you, you're a little bit on a different level than most people, right? Because you're already in the fitness industry. So I made a promise to you, like, I think this should, like, we will see inches in weight and lean body mass change, right? Because we can do that with you. Where other people, it's more about their health than just getting healthy. You're already at that point. We just want to get you to, so it comes down to what's happening with you and your body. Remember we talked about that? So I might have to adjust things a little bit. So at the start of the week, it looks like it was the same throughout the week. Am I correct, or did you not put it in? Because remember I said don't worry about it, you put it in at the end of the week. So did you put today's weight in before you ate or drank anything? I'm just curious.
So I weighed myself yesterday morning, first thing. And but then I also had weighed myself Monday when it all started. So I'm down 2 from Monday.
Okay, because I said you should be down. And the reason why I don't use the scale is not always the thing. It's just, I want to know how foods are reacting with you. That's why I was really curious that, because I said you should drop. And you did. So that's good. And it's only 5 days into it. So that's good. Because then it comes down to a whole different thing. Are you salt sensitive? Are you, do I need to change your macros a little bit? Because we talked about you have a real lean body mass for your height and everything, right? So we're talking about getting that up, like showing that, and that's awesome, right? Because like I say, we're in different levels. So I want to let you know that I'm here for you throughout this. It doesn't mean that I'm just here for 2 weeks. I want to do this with you. I'm excited, like our conversation we had. I'm excited to see what's under there because I know it's so cool. I know we got this little fit body under that's so awesome. Right? Not that you're not already. You know what I'm talking about. That discussion we had, right? So I'm there for you, and I'm glad. And your eating it sounds like it doesn't sound like it's been difficult. Is that what I'm hearing? It sounds like it hasn't really been difficult. Like you're getting used to it. I mean, it's a struggle to start for sure, but it sounds like you're taking to it. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, like it's way easier during the week when like, it's nice and mindless and I'm actually like really enjoying it right now. Like I'm seriously super obsessed with sandwiches for some reason. So like right now this is great. Like it's super easy and I can do it. And then my boyfriend, like he knows like chicken, fish, steak, like we just rotate. Cause I told him like, I don't want to get bored. He's like, yeah, no, like we'll figure it out. Cause he doesn't want to get bored either.
Yeah.
So it's been working well. It was just that whole thing. And I see this with my boss too, because he's like a chicken and veggie guy every single day. And then he goes out and have his dinner and beer because he does CrossFit. He tries to be like super lean and like he's super on his macros as well. He weighs his food. And I can even see it in him where over time he'll have to change it up because you'll get bored. Like eventually I will get sick of sandwiches. So, so for me, it's kind of thinking ahead and being like, okay, well, when the time comes, when I get sick of sandwiches, like what's next? What is going to be something that is just as good, that will still hit those macros? And, maybe I might have to just log it to see what it looks like so that I know I'm still within those macros for like, let's say that week. But I put down notes because I was like, okay, what are the things I took from Mickey this week? So looking forward to 80-20 a lot. Yeah. And then like the whole, like the feta cheese thing and getting the avocado, getting those healthy fats in. Before we talked, I was actually just slicing the cheese from the block. So I just shredded a whole bunch of cheese, put it in a container for the week, and then I would just sprinkle it on my sandwich versus like putting like blocks of cheese.
Yeah. That's a little good trick.
Oh man, it was too crazy. Oh, and those protein balls are delicious. I used it with my sun butter and I made a bunch of protein balls. So like I had one this morning with like a rice cake before I started my class and I was like, perfect. Like that was just something nice and small. Just whatever hunger I had before I did my class. And that was just nice and light. It took care of everything. But yeah, no, those were good. And so simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great because I hear that you're sounds like you're satisfied, which is great because it doesn't sound like you're like, oh, I'm hungry, I can grab this, or I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna eat that great big meal. So that's changed during this week, so which is awesome, right? Yeah, and that was kind of one of the goals. So that's amazing. And also that being so full. You say going, you're so full. Yeah, I don't expect you to eat I gotta eat all this before my workout because then you're not gonna have a good workout. Obviously. So it's being mindful of that, obviously. Yeah. Yes, it's good to hit your macros. You might have to, and it sounds like you've done that, you just space them out a little bit different so it fits in, and that's great. Now, having said that, over a while, what might just start to happen is you get that, like, or maybe you experience that this week, is like when it comes to that next snack or meal, like your body's telling you, I'm hungry. Did that happen to you? Like, oh, it's time to eat? Did that naturally come around or not yet? It might have not yet. Not yet.
When I have my protein shake in the morning, I tend to kind of nurse it throughout the morning. So by the time I actually do finish it, it's like, all right, it's lunchtime. Like it's time to
Okay,
eat.
yeah. You were saying you were doing that before, so okay, yeah.
And then, you know, that is that weird like 3 to 5 window where
Yeah.
I should probably have my second meal, but because I have my lunch at maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, and that sandwich is like a nutrient dense sandwich.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like I'll
yeah,
have my first half,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, okay, I'm like content. And then I kind of like wait a little bit, then I have like the second half later on in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and then
that's
I'm like,
perfect.
I'm like, I'm good. Like I'm still good. And then I'm just kind of like, so if my class is at 5:30, like I'll still manage to squeeze into something small. But if my
Just to get
class is at like, yeah, but if my class is at 5, I'm just like, I'm good. Like I don't
Yeah.
need anything. I'm just gonna do this 5 o'clock class and then take care of whatever hunger I get out of that. And so I'll just do the protein shake. And then that will time me till dinner time.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
But you still manage to be getting them in. I'm just making sure that you're spacing them out and not waiting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like you're waiting till dinner to, oh, I gotta get this in, because I don't want you to do that either. Right? Like, no, I'm gonna eat everything up there because I gotta get everything in. So that's good. So the other thing about the reason why I was asking that, because there is something to having your body naturally tell you I'm hungry, right? That's an important cue too. And you'll probably get there. If you continue this next week, you're gonna be like, if you got really busy, be like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. And that's great. Like that's kind of what we want to happen actually, because that's the hunger hormone telling you you're hungry. So sometimes, you're nursing that shake and that's okay too. But it's okay to feel that hunger sometimes and then have your snack, right? Because that has a fat burning quality to it as well. But I mean, you're down, it worked, so that's great. So we kind of continue. But the reason why I'm asking all this is like, okay, maybe if do I need to adjust something, right? Do I need to adjust macros a little bit? Like if you were super full or, you were feeling hungry, but it sounds like you were satisfied and it worked pretty well this week. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, like I don't think whatever the macros and all that, like it worked this week. I think the only thing for me was at the end of my dinner, I always tend to, like previously, at the end of dinner, it was like, okay, well, what's for dessert?
And that's a habit thing, right? That's a habit thing.
Yeah, and so I was like, what am I gonna have? Like, what's gonna work? And so what's been kind of working for me this week is taking, like, I have those Plum and Good rice cakes. They're just like 25 calories for like a super thin rice cake, and putting like some sun butter on it. And I'm like, that's good. That's good. That was good.
Yeah, and if it's within your macros and you just have that little bit, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. And when you're talking about your boss with the, he's just doing the, you're right, that is going to get bored. And when your body gets used to something, you start to plateau. And you can actually develop a food allergy if you do something the same too often, right? So yeah, when you get bored of the sandwich, you're just simply putting in a different macro of that same type. So you just put a different carb in there, whether it's sweet potato, whether it's rice, whether it's, you're just changing that and making sure the fiber is in there. That's all you're doing. So it's not like you're, drastically changing something. You're just adding variety, which intuitive eating should be, right? You should be just adding variety and that's great. So it's okay, so.
Well, I think I also ran into a couple occasions where like we would cook too much at dinner time. And so my boyfriend would pack up all the leftovers. He's like, okay, here's your lunch for tomorrow. And I'm like, I have sandwiches planned.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't. And so, but then like normally, it's because this week when I was trying to get my macros in and, be so mindful of everything that I was logging, like, that's why I stuck to the sandwiches because I knew it worked. But then normally I would take those things and just have them for leftovers. And it's not like those leftovers were bad. Like those were actually like a good balance of my protein and carbs anyways, right? But I was just like, no, I need to hit these macros. I need to log these. And so.
But also the sandwiches for you have been enjoyable, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So and bread's gonna go back. It's only one eating.
Yeah. So if you go and change that and then you have what you had for dinner and it's not satisfying, then you probably are going to grab something else. So this keeps you, more in check, because it should be satisfying. I mean, food should be satisfying, but it should also be nutritionally dense, and which it is, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, no, you don't want my sandwich. That's enjoyable in your mind, and then you enjoy your meal and you feel satisfied, and it gives you good feeling all over, right? And it's okay. So that's okay. So going into next week, like I said, I'm here for you all the way through. It's not just temporary, right? Like I'm here. So, you know, like I say, if we have to change a little few of the macros along the way, we will, right? And depending on what your success is, and how you're feeling. But I love it because, like I say, you're the model person. You just, oh, this is what I'm doing. And you seem to enjoy it, right? It's not like it's a crazy thing for you, and you're a numbers person. So it's great. Like many people I probably wouldn't do this with because it's not in their realm to do that, right? So going forward into next week, what's some of the things you think I can do to help you?
Am I allowed more carbs?
So now wait a minute. We're changing them because you say you're having your shake right after your workout, right?
I am.
What are you having with it?
Well, today, because it's the weekend and there was a little more flexibility, supposedly, I added banana.
Oh yeah, no, not the weekend. I'm talking about your regular day. Like today's your fun day, whatever. I don't care.
So no, like my my after workout shake is like so high protein, low carb.
Okay, because but that's where actually your higher sugar carbs should be, is right after your workout or just before even. But that's where your body can process it because your metabolism is high. So you could like shift your carbohydrates a little bit. So you're having that half a banana or some berries in your shake, or having an apple and an orange or something with your shake. You know, I mean, orange might not taste good, but you know what I mean? That's where you can have some of those higher sugar carbs always around your workout. Think of having your, you know, your more fruity type carbs and stuff, because your body can utilize them and they actually help with protein synthesis that way with your body. And so that's a good time to have it.
Yeah, I was kind of staying away from it because I was like, it's not fitting in my macros. And so I was like, I'm not going to hit my macros because I already like, instead of mashed potatoes, I bought the little like nugget potatoes because like I told I can only have like 2 or 3 and then I can have my veggies. But that's it.
But you're not counting your veggies as your carbohydrates, right? You're not counting your fibrous veggies. Right?
Yeah, no, I'm not counting my veggies, but I'm totally counting like the little nugget potatoes as my carbs.
What you can do is actually, because we were talking about your reach and your lean body mass pretty good, is you can switch a little bit there because your body can utilize it. And that's really important to have that carb around your workout time, is you could take a little bit of, say, protein away and maybe just exchange those calories at that time. You know what I mean? So if you're finding, oh, you know, it's so much protein I'm having, and because I mean, if you have too much of anything at one time, your body's still going to turn into fat, right? So you want to be able to, if you're finding that you're stuffing yourself, I don't want that either. But if you're finding that you maybe, I don't know, at some point in there, like I don't need that much protein really, you know, you can add that fruit or whatever after your workout and just take away a little bit of protein somewhere else because your body will utilize it, right? So if that, does that make sense? Maybe we could work on that, and then you can kind of tell me, and feel free to ask me. Remember I told you that anytime you're not sure about something, tell me. But really that'll help with the protein and the carbohydrates. Not a lot of fats around your workout, but or after, but that really helps with protein synthesis and getting the glycogen back into your body and your muscle and everything. So it's good to have carbohydrate around that time, and the higher sugar carbohydrates like the fruits and stuff.
Yeah, I had one trainer tell me, he's like, if you're gonna eat cake, at least do it after your workout. And
yeah, like, exactly, right? Your body can do it. We're keeping cake to the weekend, but you can have some fruit. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. So yeah, so definitely you can add a bit more carb there. Just take, because you're eating enough protein anyway, right? At this point, it looks like you're hitting your numbers, or even, you know, definitely hitting those numbers low. Because I said 120, 140, it looks like you're getting above, not above that, but in between that. So you could afford a little bit less at somewhere, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, and your water seems good. It seems like you're taking that in good, and you're dealing with your electrolytes and everything.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Because yeah, like I have, wait, I don't even know where it went, but I have like I had this from the beginning of my fitness journey, I had a trainer tell me I had to drink a lot of water. I'm like, oh, but I don't like the tap at my
Yeah, I
office.
remember you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cool. So I have a glass bottle in my fridge in the office. And so I just constantly refill it. And I have a couple bottles on the side already. Like I have tons of shaker bottles. You kind of acquire them over time. So I just have them going on in the fridge and I just rotate them out. So yeah, no, getting water at work wasn't a problem.
Okay, so like I say, then it comes just to fine tuning. Like it's just fine tuning. So, you know, I know the shakes work great, but sometimes, remember I was talking about eating our food burns more calories too. So sometimes maybe, you know, it might just be little switches where your body just starts to work for you again, right? Because if you get to that point where you plateau, maybe it's just we're eating more carbs during the day, and maybe at night I'm taking that snack and putting it in the morning as opposed to at night. You know, or you're switching that night snack with a fat instead of a carbohydrate. Or you're having an actual food breakfast where it's not a shake, where you're actually eating. And honestly, that little change can make your body start to lose again, right? So it's just something like that. And again, you know, did you have a really salty meal the night before you weighed in, before the, you know, Friday, Saturday weigh-in? That can make you hold on to water, and you're thinking, oh, great, I blew it. I didn't do anything. Actually, you probably did. You're just retaining water, right? So it's all those little tiny things where we might see something. But I think I mean, you did already lose some, and I think if we just keep this continuing and just, I mean, it might just be little tweaks here and there, but I think you're on the right path. So yeah. So I'm not sure what the goal we said. Oh, that was it. So maybe adding a bit of fruit after your shake, and then just keeping, you know, just like I say, I want to see that. So it should be a roller coaster. I don't want you, you know, just weighing yourself before. I don't like you getting, well, Cam's probably gone over this with you, but getting that mindset of, oh, I got to weigh myself every day, unless it's if we're looking at water levels in the body, right? I don't want you to get fixed on the scale, because measurements are huge, right? You've got the low scale. All those other factors are really important as well. One week you might find your clothes are looser, but you have gained, but you didn't really lose weight, but you also, that fat is exchanging, your tissue is exchanging, right? So that you still have progress, right? That's why I don't like the scale so much, but it should be like a roller coaster. Cheat days, you're going to go up because you're going to have those more high sodium sugary foods or fatty food, like more saturated fats, that kind of thing. But then by the next Friday, that roller coaster will be down from the Friday before, if that makes sense. Or the Saturday before, whatever, right? So, yeah.
So I wanted to add a couple things, sort of more on the realm of mindset that I'm hearing from what just happened. And the first thing I'm going to say is something about variety, because we've spoken about like variety, like boredom, this, like all of these concepts that we've been alluding to, and I just thought I'd add a little piece. So when we eat food, like we have dopamine spike, right? We get pleasure from eating food, right? There is an innate pleasure from eating food.
Right.
If we eat the same thing over and over again, that dopamine spike is less. And it might feel like the experience, like some other person is controlling us to not eat that food anymore. Like almost like you obtain this like aversion to that food almost. And I wanted to name it. And it's because of that dopamine spike, or that hormone change that's occurring naturally. Our body does this naturally, where we just start to not crave something, right? And we sometimes forget that we are just a makeup of a bunch of chemical processes, really. And without variety, our body will downregulate or stray us away from eating that food naturally. And what's been pointed to that I want to add is this notion of like, I'm full, right? Our body's telling us that I'm full, right? But in the background, there's this fear of, what if I don't eat enough, right? What if I don't hit what I need to hit, right? So saying all that, I have a question. And the question is, so what? So what if you don't hit the numbers? But what if your body does? tell you that it's okay? Does that make it okay? Is there something wrong?
Oh, is that a question?
Kind of. It's kind of like I'll ask it again.
I'm in on that one too, but oh, you go first.
I'll ask it a different way. So
Okay.
if you're full and you've already pre-prepared your MyFitnessPal for the day, you've already prepped like what you're going to eat, but you're full, and you choose to not eat what you prepared
Yeah.
because you're full, is that okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't
Right.
have my Greek salad yesterday that I planned for. And then I had dinner, and after dinner we went out, but I'm like, I still need to hit those macros, and I was still kind of snackish.
Mhm.
And I realized that 2 things of string cheese and my rice cake with sun butter on it
Mhm.
was the exact same macros. And then that was my kind of like
Mhm.
snack before bed. Well, not right after bed, but like snack to kind of tie me over for a couple hours, then go to bed. But yeah, no, I did that instead because there was no way I was having that salad at that time.
And sometimes you feel, like I said, if you forced yourself to eat it and you don't want it, and then later you're still hungry. So, you know what I mean? You start to overgo over everything. So that's important. And the other thing I was going to say, Cam, what you're talking about the full, yeah, in your case, this is okay. Other people, I would say, I might say the opposite, because they learned to make themselves not hungry, if that makes sense. And then they don't eat enough. So when I get them eating, they feel full because they actually are not eating. Does that make sense? You're in a different category than that. But I just wanted to point that out, that it can be a problem for some people because they might eat a little bit and then they're full, but that's because, and that may be, I may be going in a different direction here, but that's more of a food, it could be a food disorder. They've just trained their body so long that they've kind of ruined their metabolism, but this is different. So yes, don't force yourself to eat the salad that you don't want, because you're not going to want it at that time. But you're eating other things that you're still getting the fiber. Remember, it's about, the reason why the macros are there is because it's about the important things in those macros that we're getting, the fiber, and the healthy fats, the vitamins in your grains, all those types of things, right? That and iron in your meats, those things, right? So those are why the macros I have there, they're important. But yes, if you're full at that time and you force yourself to eat something that either you don't want, or you, like you say, that dinner that you made the night before, I just don't feel like this. You are going to eat something else, and you're not going to be satisfied because you're going to be looking for something. And that's when we tend to overeat. So good on you. Yeah.
Amazing. So next question. So let's say that you were to have that experience of fullness, and you just ate a new meal that you've never tried before, and you think that the macros are okay, and you don't actually know, and you're full. You're in that world of unknowing.
Yeah.
That world that maybe feels a little uncomfortable, and that fear of like unknown. You said that you can remedy it by tracking on MyFitnessPal, but let's just say that you don't have that opportunity and you just need to eyeball it, right? And you've got to go based on your gut, quite literally. What's it like conceiving that you're just going to trust that without checking?
That could be fine too. Like, I only started logging again because of this journey, right? So
Oh yeah, totally.
So and like I had mentioned before, like from March till during the whole entire shutdown, I had weighed myself, and I'd weighed myself prior to this, and I'm like, wow, I did such a good job maintaining.
Amazing.
Right? So like I'm still very cognizant of understanding that where's the protein source? Where's the carb source? Is there a balance? Like, I know deep down what is good for me and also what probably is not as good. So it's just, being mindful, right? And having that balance without too much restriction.
Totally. And so deep down, what to do, essentially. Like you trust yourself deep down. And the reason why I ask and say all of that is from one of your videos, I think it was yesterday's, where you had said that in the background is also that fear of undernourishing yourself. And so that's where that question kind of comes from. So in one respect, you say that there's that fear there, and then in the other respect, you did a great job while in quarantine, and you maintained. And you see how those two things are kind of in conflict, though.
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm not at a point in my life where maintaining is good enough. If I want to reach goals, maintaining is not going to get me there.
Totally.
But through logging is where it got me thinking of, oh my God, there's this potential here to undereat, because I'm looking at the quantitative value of everything I'm eating. And if I had eliminated that one meal that I just didn't feel like having because I was full, the number would tell me I'm actually under 1,200 calories. And I've been groomed to feel, or groomed to understand, that under 1,200 calories, you're starving yourself. So because of that information looming in the back of my head, I'm like, well, crap, am I going to undereat if I continue to eat this way and just eliminate that meal altogether? And is this going to hurt me when I want to do a workout? Like, am I going to be fueled enough? So that's where that sort of epiphany came from. So yeah, it's a fine balance. It's a fine balance of, you know, if I'm not going to be logging, but trusting also my instinct, and, you know, like I said, thinking ahead, how will intuitive eating work for me now that I won't be logging anymore, but also trusting I'm going to get enough food throughout the day. If I continue to if I just take what I did all this week and just took it next week without logging it, you know, like that's where that little nugget came from.
Yes, because you.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Cam, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because you were saying that like you feel confident with hitting your macros from the things that you ate, but then when you add that variety, when you add those other things, like now it's uncertain whether you'd hit those macros. So what I'm hearing is that the that feeling, that fear is really just about if you were to diverge, and if you were to stay the same, it would get boring. So to say something that Mickey said previously, it's like looking at the sandwich. It's like, hey, like, oh, the carb, you know, thing that, you know, fits everything, you know, holds everything, you know, morphing that, putting it into a wrap instead, making it a little bit different, you know, is a strategy that could work. But my question to you is, what's it like being inside of that, that uncertainty? And I know that my question is kind of a little bit like, the reason why I'm asking is because I'm trying to understand what it's like for you, because I don't know, right? And you've given me more insight now, but if you were to, like, say hypothetically for this next week, you were to try new things and you weren't to track and you didn't track, what would that be like?
I think that I could probably do that, but it would just be then I would have to look at the scale and be like, did I achieve results doing it this way?
Right.
Because I think, to me, if I were then to look at the scale the next week and be like, oh shit, I gained or I maintained, then there must have been something I did or slipped up on throughout the week where that probably wouldn't have happened if I was still logging.
Right. So if you were to not lose weight, what do you say to yourself?
Oh shit.
That's right. Don't you?
Like,
so this is just like the thing to notice, right? Like when you are not losing, it's oh shit. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's fine, because like the goal, like we've said, is that weight will go down.
Mhm.
And I'm naming a certain thing that's going on in your body, right? And if it's oh shit, then we won't be able to extract the knowledge that came from it. So what, right? We find
Mhm.
out that, oh, when I gave all of my attention to intuitive eating, I gained weight. You know, oh shit, or like what was missing here? That's it. Like
Like
I
I say,
know that.
it could be one salty meal the night before, and actually it could make you stay the same or gain, right? It doesn't mean
Yeah.
you haven't made progress. It just means that there is an element in there that stopped you, right? That's all it means. Doesn't mean you haven't made progress. Yeah.
And what we get to identify, like at the end of this call, is what we want to bring forward. So like what we've alluded to is kind of like two extremes: maintain tracking, or go, you know, hold my beer, let's do this, you know, complete no tracking. Like, you know, like those are two extremes, right? So I want to just create the distinction that there's a middle point where we can have your cake and eat it too,
Mhm.
finding balance, if you will. And the reason why I ask those questions is because I know, like from listening to you before and also from your videos, that, I mean, it sounds like that would cause a lot of stress where you'd be restricting yourself intuitively because you'll underestimate, right, or overestimate depending on the situation. And you know, that might not actually lead you to intuitive eating, truly, like but you might think it is because
Can
fear
I
is running
chime
the
in there?
show.
Yeah. Can I add something to that real quick?
Yep.
If you don't mind. Oh, sorry. I just want to go a couple of just little things before I forget. Where Christine was saying that you know, maybe I only did 1,200 calories that day. On a day where you're not working out or not moving as much, I don't want to think about calories too much, but if you missed a meal or you were full, that's okay because you're not burning that much as much energy. So it's okay if you say miss something. Like that's kind of where that intuitive eating comes in. It's like, don't beat yourself up because you know, I didn't stick to the plan, right? Like that's okay. You had a little less calories. On the other hand, just from what I see and hear is it's a bit of a mind game with you, definitely. But I think we're still learning your body too, and I'm learning it, right? So I don't mind, like sometimes a week of just tracking. Maybe you need to take a little more time, and it's okay if you're tracking, so you're just getting used to what works and what doesn't work, and maybe those little tweaks we need just to see, so you don't go crazy where you, like you say, is I gained, oh shit, right? Like what you said, or what was that? I'm not losing, right? Like, so that I can say, hey, okay, look back, this is why this happened, right? So it might be easier on your mindset right now that you see or are knowing that, okay, I still have progress, but it's just because I had, you know, I had smoked salmon. Oh yeah, there's lots of salt in smoked salmon. I didn't realize that. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So I'm not saying, what am I not saying? I don't know what I'm not saying. I think I'm saying that for you, maybe tracking still until you learn more your body and how it reacts is an okay thing. I'm not hearing that it's come on, Kevin, help me out. What am I trying to say?
So here, okay, I got you. So what you're saying is that there's a lot of peace of mind in you tracking, and that when there's not that peace of mind present, then it's going to impact the way that you interact with other areas, whether it be fitness, whether it be mindset, whether it be whatever. And so having that tracking be present, but in a different way, the way that you would maybe approach it is from a discovery, like you legitimately seek out new things, because then you're adding to that repertoire of what works. You're also adding to the repertoire of what doesn't work, and you're building up that toolkit that you can then further implement into the challenge moving forward. Because with us being able to distinguish that fear is in the background, variety matters, prepping matters. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it doesn't even make sense for us to even recommend, like, okay, you're going to prep the exact same thing for this week and you're going to eat the same thing. And if you don't eat the same thing, we will find you. That doesn't work. Because if you don't have new things, you are breaking one of the rules that we know is very important to you, which is variety. And that's why I brought up the questions previously. And that is why you know, I said that this call is important to understand what moving forward looks like. And to me, and what Mickey's saying is that bringing tracking moving forward intentionally is what is needed, because it applies to other areas. Like Mickey's speaking about your workouts being energized. What would it be like if you came in with more glycogen, where you could like leave it all on the court, where you could come in and just like freaking complete badass, walk away, you know, like there was explosion behind you or whatever vision you want to have, and you've just completely put all of your energy into it. The impact of that is that your muscles, they're going to be all happy. You know, your brain will also be happy because you're moving forward, right? And you're nourishing your body, right?
Yeah.
And that peace of mind is what matters. I have a belief that sort of peace of mind and mindset is kind of like foundational, and specifically why I asked about the questions I did. So I hope that answered, or, you know, covered everything you were trying to say, Mickey.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think for her it's okay to track and say I did this. I don't think it's a clutch for her. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's something that, you know, if she stands on the, you know, like some people, if they don't stand on the scale every day, they go out of their mind crazy. I don't think right now it's a clutch for her. I think it's just a tool that's helping her right now. Is that right, Christina? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Because it's a new set of macros, and I hadn't been tracking, it's been a long time since I've been tracking macros. So, you know, because these macros have been set, like I really want to do good by them and really honor what it could potentially be doing for my body.
Yeah.
And like you said, the MyFitnessPal is that tool that helps me keep that in check and give it a fair shot. Because, and also because I don't know what that looks like on a plate. So if I'm not logging it, I don't know then in the future when I have to intuitively eat it, what I should be preparing and what
I get used to it, right?
Yeah.
So then you can start to eyeball it and understand it and get used to it. And having said all that, sometimes switching those macros a little bit helps your body move forward too, right? Because again, once you get used to it, the body is very, very creative in the way it conserves energy. So it wants to use as least energy amount as it can, right? So it says, hey, I'm getting used to this. Let's just stay right here, right? So that's where we shock it up a little bit by maybe changing those things around. And that's getting to understand your body. At what point does that happen? Okay, we need to do this, right, or this, right? So that's all. It's just little tweaks, but it's not over obsessing that this is the be all end all, right? Like it's learning what your body can do for you.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it seems pretty clear to me that, you know, having that tracking be present would be still great. And when we were moving forward to make intuitive eating a practice, what do you see is a way that we can take what we discovered this week from what you tracked to move it forward in a positive direction towards intuitive eating? Like, how could you do it differently? Slightly.
Well, like I know the dinners work and we've got great variety because it's something that I'm having to keep in mind myself and Mike, like we're, you know, we talk through it together, which is awesome. So so dinner is good. It's the Monday to Friday during the day. And so like right now, like I switch between a roast beef or a turkey or a chicken, like deli meat. So like that's kind of been my variety right now.
Right.
But it would, like you said, like I was actually contemplating, let's do a wrap instead of the bread. And then right now, like I've been cutting out the carrots, and normally I would have carrots with my sandwich, but I'm just like, too full. Like I can't. So I've just been sticking to the sandwich. But like, I feel like lettuce just isn't enough. Like I feel like I need more veggies in my lunch. And so
cucumber. Crunchy cucumber.
Yeah,
cucumber and hummus.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's what the whole, like, I was trying to do like Greek salads, and so like I bought like 2 things of cucumbers to like make some cucumber salad sort of styles things. But yeah, like, I don't know. I
Okay.
honestly don't know.
That's okay. So what I want to ask then is, how could you contribute to your toolkit per se of intuitive eating moving forward into the next week in a way that is that also keeps in mind that peace of mind matters? Like, what recipes or what things could you try that would make what would make the biggest difference if you were to move that into the next week?
So like not having sandwiches next week.
No, you can have sandwiches. You love sandwiches. Why? I'm not here to remove and be like the bearer of bad news and remove all the happy in your day.
No, like totally, we can cut them out. Like, we'll try something else.
No. I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying that maybe you were like, are you? It sounds like there's a part. Well, from what I heard, just what you said, Christine. Is there a part of the day that you said Monday, Friday, in between that sandwich or something that you're having a struggle with, or you're not sure what to eat? Is that what I'm hearing? Or
Well, I don't know. Like, if we were to go towards like intuitive eating, right? Like, what would change for next week? Like, honestly, I don't see anything really changing that much. Maybe because I'm running out of bread, I'll switch to a wrap.
Maybe. Hey, that's so. Let me clarify something. So I'm looking to you for the answer, and I'm not trying to give it.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to insinuate anything, actually.
Okay.
If it sounds like I'm trying to insinuate something, I swear I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
No, like, I know you're encouraging some form of change or some form of thought.
not necessarily. I
Right.
think he's saying if you're enjoying what you're doing,
Yeah.
like just doing, I guess, more freely, I guess. I don't know. I think he's saying you're enjoying what you're eating.
So you said that the number one thing that has you not feel comfortable leaving tracking is the thought that if you were to do something new, that it would have that peace of mind to not be present. So what I'm trying to say is that right now sandwiches are like a good go-to, and you feel comfortable with them, and you also are not bored of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking to this moment when you're bored of sandwiches and you are needing to intuitive eat. Like, just hypothetically, you're in that situation, you cannot track it, and you are making a choice, right?
Yeah.
And so the answer could be, Cam, like we're actually, I'm gonna do the exact same thing I did as last week.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool. However, for intuitive eating to be present from everything that you just shared, you will need more in your toolkit than just sandwiches.
And I'm pretty
also,
sure we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right?
well,
I feel like I will get sick within these 8 weeks of sandwiches, and then I'll be like, Cam, I'm over it.
But then we talked about that. When I sent you that list, did that help? That list, it kind of says what carbohydrates, like, if you don't want bread, then I'm just going to put serving size in of, I don't know, I'm going to have, like you said, a wrap, or I'm going to mix my, tuna with some, I don't know, sweet potato. I've had people that do that, like, I don't know, something, right? Like, that's all it is. It's just changing one for the other. Like,
yeah, like I've been totally good eating like salads for an entire week, and it was just all about prepping and buying those ingredients for the week. It's like, what am I craving this week, and how can I make it healthy for the week? And
there we go.
It's just all about like, what am I craving for the week? And so I'm not over sandwiches yet.
Okay, cool. I'm not trying to take away your sandwiches.
I'll be like, don't take it away. I'm gonna have a salad. I'm over it.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you're not going to give an answer to that question. You're going to keep doing what's working.
Yeah.
And we're going to explore this conversation later. That's
Probably.
What I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Cool.
because I'm still craving sandwiches, and I should honor my cravings.
Yes, exactly. So that's an answer that is okay. Do you get that? Like, I am not attached to like needing to change things. I'm just checking in because with one thing you're saying is to master intuitive eating, we need more in our toolkit. In the other realm, we found something that works and you really like it right now. So what I'm not saying is that you need to give up the thing you love because of this other desire of finding more things that work, right? This is about your choice.
Mhm.
And I'm, like I said, I'm not like above you telling you what to do. It's more like I'm posing the question to assure that I understand where you're at.
True.
And so now I understand where you're at. So now I can like leave that alone.
Okay.
Because there were two things you said that were in conflict, and now I'm clear. So
Okay.
that's all.
Cool.
That's so funny.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, like I'm on this journey to learn, and I
Yeah.
totally want to like respect the suggestions and everything coming through to me because I'm here to discover things along the way. And if I'm just going to be like, no, I'm having sandwiches for the rest of this journey, don't bug me. Like if I'm like that, then like I'll never grow and I'll never learn things, because once this journey is over and I've met my macros every single day because I had my sandwiches, you best believe I'm getting a 12-pack of donuts when this is done, because
Yeah, totally.
I didn't, you know, take it
You regimented. Yeah.
so and it happened. Like I did a 60-day journey and I did it with Jeanette. And what did we do at the end of the journey? We went to Cardam's and got us donuts because we deserved it, right?
Yeah. Right.
So like I want to have that flexibility as a long-term sustainable plan in my life, and but still respecting everything and learning those things and tools to be able to do that.
So you're going to be at the genesis of that, and I will also push, but it's not the time to push. It's not the time. I will push you. Don't worry. And so will Mickey. But like I said, the biggest thing behind everything is peace of mind. And so what I'm going to say around all this is find a way to spice up your sandwiches to also add to your toolkit. Like still do the thing that's working. You get to come to us and discover what additions you can do within what you've found that's working to expand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then it's not just sandwiches. It's like, no, you have like different varieties of sandwiches that now work for you. And when you choose to move away from sandwiches, then we move to wraps, then we get into wrap mode, you know, and then we want to go to paninis, we go to paninis, you know what I mean? Like, but then we're growing, but it's on your terms based on what works, not focusing on what's wrong, right? Because historically, that's how people will do challenges, is they'll focus on what's wrong with somebody. And what we're out to do is we're out to look at the things that work well for you, and then we want to discover inside of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's way more empowering to do that, because if I go and I'll be like, all right, so we're gonna have chicken and broccoli for the rest of the week. Sound like fun? But Cam, I don't like chicken. Too bad. No, like we're not gonna go there. Yeah. So your journal, I want you to see it as a way that you can make mistakes on your terms. So if you want to try things out, like, hey, I like added like extra roast beef today and I was super hungry and I wasn't as full when I tried it with this other bread, right? It's still a sandwich, but like you noted that it didn't work for you the same way that your other sandwiches did. That's just as valuable as finding something positive. So that's what I have to say around all that. And in conclusion of like this week, is there anything else that you want to make us aware of, or anything that didn't work or you want to have change, or anything else like that?
I'm just like thinking, like you guys caught me on like this really weird obsession with sandwiches this week. Like
I love it.
Honestly, I have never been so obsessed with sandwiches like before this. Honest to God, like when I went on my Okanagan trip and was having sandwiches, I was like, damn, these are good. But like,
Is it because you used to view bread as bad? Is that why?
yeah, probably like, well, no, like I was having like grilled cheese sandwiches at home, and then I'm like,
Okay.
oh, what's
Oh,
like
okay.
a
No,
really, and then like,
yeah.
what's a really easy portable thing I can eat between
Right.
drinking lots of wine? And I'm like,
Yeah.
sandwiches. And so I'm just making sandwiches. And then I'm like, these are really good. I should do this more often. And then I just got into this like big sandwich kick. But before that, I was, you know, having sushi, skip the dishes, A&W, taco salad, like a variety of a bunch of stuff that probably had some health benefits and a lot of not.
Yeah.
And so, and then also, you know, took a big chunk of money from my credit card. So like, it was just a whole lot of mumbo jumbo. But for the sake of this journey, I was just like, all right, well, I like sandwiches. Let's go with this.
It works.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, and they're still good. Like I rotate between the turkey and the chicken and the roast beef. There's a lot of variety. So
You can even do tuna.
I have cans of tuna, and I'm just like, okay, how am I gonna eat these? Like, because I was in like a tuna kick for a while, so I stocked up on a bunch of cans of tuna because I felt like we were gonna go into an apocalypse and be shut down forever. I'm like, I'm gonna survive on tuna, and no, like.
So lemon sandwich, add a couple pickles, it's crunchy, and then you can have a little bit of light mayo. It's awesome.
Add some mayo, yeah.
I have dill pickles in my fridge. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
So moving into the next week then, what we're going to be bringing forward is tracking.
Okay.
Okay? Mickey, is that cool by you too?
Yeah, and then
Cool.
like I say, Christine, if you're you know, worried or that's in the back of your mind, you know, just kind of letting, you know, I think you're tracking, but if you're keeping track of the foods you are having, and then for some reason, because you had mentioned that, that's why I'm saying it, like, or Cam mentioned it, if you, oh no, I didn't lose, oh crap, right? But that's, okay, let's look at what we had that, you know, that week or whatever, and it could be something as simple, like I say, something meal, whatever it was, right, the night before, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So if that helps peace of mind, then that's fine.
I think also like, and I don't know if this is considered probably not beneficial to do, but this week I was logging my food the night before. So like just planning my entire next day ahead of schedule, just so I knew that I would not go off course.
Right.
And,
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, if that helps you like plan for the day and doesn't make your life stressful, then I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like no different than anything else, right? If that's how you plan, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're going away, I'm gonna have this much clothes, I might rain, you know, who cares, right? That's fine.
yeah, well, and I was just like, I'm also from previously, if I was logging my food and then I get to the end of the day and I'm like, oh shit, I ate all my calories.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, like I can't have this anymore because I screwed up my macros like early on in the day. So
Yeah.
at least by logging that night before, I knew like I'd be well nourished throughout the day and still be happy at the end of my day. And so
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
cool.
Cool. What was I going to say? No, it's gone. It's completely gone. Well, anyways, I'll move on to the next thing. So I will have all of the stuff for the next week put into the app by tomorrow, so that you'll see that for the week to come. So technically you still have like today and tomorrow of nutrition. So, oh yes, I remember what I was going to say. So, you know, one of the strategies that we could do, this is a we thing. This is not me telling you what to do, by the way. This is just an idea. Is that you just said that you have a lot of peace of mind by planning out your day ahead of time. You know, one strategy that we could like challenge that discomfort and have it be on your terms would be to choose to still track, but don't track the night before. Track at noon and the evening and see if you're able to intuitively eat, but you're still tracking. Does that make sense?
Okay.
That's one possible way that you could challenge yourself, because in the background of your mind, what we want to be able to do is create that sustainability. Because at the end of the day, you have you, right? And you being able to just intuitively know these things just gives you a lot more power when you are, say, on vacation and wanting to make a choice by ordering some menu, ordering on some menu, you know, and yeah.
You can even do
So-
your cheat day like that too. You can, I mean, I hate to use the word cheat day, but your 20% day, let's say 20% day.
I like
Is
that
that
better.
your,
I don't really like cheat day.
Yeah, yeah. Is that maybe you're, you know, that's when you're kind of, I mean, you're, like I say, I want you to be free on those days, but that gives you an idea, like you're not tracking anything, but you can eyeball it kind of, right? You start eyeballing it, oh, wow, you know, I had that or I had that. And that might be a way compared to the week that you're seeing, wow, the differences, right? And then so you get used to those sizes, portion sizes or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna be seeing a lot of carbs today.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's
You're
okay. But I'm just
carb
saying
loading.
what I meant was that, you know, like, is like, okay, yeah, I have this many potatoes, but you know, when you're out on the weekend, just notice the difference. Like, oh wow, I had that meal and wow, that was much different than the other. Then what I meant is the eyeballing it is like gets easier because you understand what you're looking at. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because from logging it now, like I know when I look at certain foods, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I can only have that. Like,
Yeah.
and without even logging, like I know, like, okay,
Yeah.
when I go to Starbucks, this is what I can have. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other challenge I have for you,
Yes.
is to ask Mickey questions. By tomorrow, ask her at least 5 questions that are based on this week, because it will, and it'll be centered around things that will push your version of intuitive eating forward. And the last thing is, I just request that when you're doing your self-discovery journal, that you keep a separate way for you to track your nutrition, because I think that if it's in a culmination of everything else, it might get lost. So just assure that you have a way that you are able to like look back at nutrition specifically when the week isn't about nutrition, because you might want to note something down, but we still want to have it be intentional about the week's intention. Does that make sense?
So log what I'm feeling regardless of what week we're in.
For nutrition, I think from my assessment, and I want to see, like, again, what do you think? I feel as though it would be very important, just knowing your past and what goals you have, for you to keep track of it anyway. Like, just like small notes if you notice something.
In here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just making
Yeah.
sure, because you made mention about how you were making this week very intentional around nutrition. Awesome. And next
Oh
week
yeah,
is about.
just for the video, but
Oh,
for
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But
yes.
for my journal, like I'm like writing. Well, I am focusing on nutrition in my journal right now, just because like whatever, I'm working out. Like it's
Yes.
there's no goals around it. There's nothing intentional about it. I'm working out for the sake of working out, and I want
Cool.
to. But for nutrition and like as additional pillars and information is added, then yes, like I would like to see, you know, okay, well, what's changed over time? Like now I have more to write about because I'll be adding body to nutrition. So yeah, no, my stories will just get longer, and I'll
Awesome.
have to find ways to compress that into a minute.
I love it. Cool. Yeah, and so I just wanted to be sure that was cool. Good. So I think we are complete then. Did you write down the homework that I gave you, the questions? 5 questions to Mickey. Awesome. Yay. Amazing. And any last closing thoughts before we leave? Anyone? No?
Good.
Cool. Well, great job this week, and keep it up. And if any thoughts come about, feel free to put it into the group chat as well.
Yeah, just remember, Christy, I'm here for any, well, I know he said 5 questions, but I'm here for the duration. It doesn't mean just the 2 weeks, right? So, yeah.
Will do.
Amazing.
Okay.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
Yes, you
Talk
too.
soon. Bye.
Bye.